Hi everyone, it's Chris and welcome back to another video. Thank you for popping by today, and thank you for everyone who takes the time to watch these videos, to leave comments, to interact with other people who leave comments. I love the fact that these videos spark a little bit of conversation amongst fellow music lovers. So thank you to everyone who does that, and people who also like the video or subscribe to the channel. And if you're not a subscriber, I'd love it if I could earn your subscription. So thank you so much for your support. Today I want to share with you some of the records I've picked up over the last 5 or 6 weeks now. A variety of stuff, some singles. I've got about 10 singles or so, and about half a dozen albums. So I'll be I'm really interested to hear your thoughts about what I've found in the comments below. First up is a band I know nothing about. It's a 78 single. They're a band who I think from the southwest of England. The single was recorded in a little studio in Bath, which is not far from here. And the band called Moscow, and the song is called Man from Uncle. I know nothing about this band, but it looks quite interesting, and so I picked it up. So if you know anything about Moscow, Man from Uncle, let me know in the comments below. Next up is a single I had. I bought it in 1977 alongside White Riot, Pretty Vacant, This Perfect Day. I used to play it to death. I loved it, but I never had it in a picture sleeve. And so the other day I saw it on eBay and I just put in a low bid. I always put in low bids. That's why I never win, because I put in low bids. And I just put in, I always have a ceiling on what I want to bid for a record. And then I just leave it until I get a notification that I've won or not. And I did win. So I got this single really cheap. And I was really pleased about that because I love it. And it's London Girls by the Vibrators. I think it's a great song. It's back with Stiff Little Fingers, which is where the band Stiff Little Fingers took their name. But that is a tremendous song, one of my favourites from 77, real nostalgic kind of song for me. As I said, alongside White Riot and Pretty Vacant and This Perfect Day, I played it to death and I love it. So really delighted to pick that up in a picture sleeve. I'm a big Thin Lizzy fan, got all their albums bar the first two, which I don't like, and they're also really expensive. And I also collect all the singles, plus anything related to, usually to Phil Lynott. And I realised the other day I didn't have this single. I saw it at, was it Bristol Record Fair possibly? And I picked it up. It was only £2, so I was pleased to add it to my collection. And it's King's Call by Phil Lynott, which potentially is one of his last solo singles. I can't remember offhand, but yeah, it's all right. It features Mark Knopfler. I'm just delighted to put it into my collection of Thin Lizzy stuff. Next up is a single that I've shown before, but I have it in a plain sleeve, and it's not the double single version of it. And so I was really pleased to pick up April Skies by Jesus and Mary Chain. This is a double single. It's got a couple of live songs on the second disc. It comes from their second album, Badlands, which is a much easier listen than Psycho Candy, which, although it's groundbreaking, is a really challenging listen. I think Badlands is just a little bit easier on the ear, and April Skies is a really good song. I like that. Next up is a band I know nothing about, a bit kind of post-punky, I think, a bit new wavy, don't know anything about them. It's the Modettes, and this is Paint It Black, so their version of obviously the Rolling Stones song. And it's okay, actually, and I'm still looking for their first single, which the name of which has just escaped me, but can't remember. If you know, put it in the comments below. Okay, last 5 singles, all from charity shops, or charity shop, one charity shop in my hometown. And they were all 10p each, so 50p for 5 singles. Yeah, I think I was quite pleased with that. See what you think. The first one up is, I've shown this before, but I don't have it in a picture sleeve. I do now. Only Women Bleed, Julie Covington from 77, I think. Obviously, this is a cover of Alice Cooper's song, Only Women Bleed, but I think it's a brilliant version of it. I love her voice. She did Don't Cry For Me Argentina, didn't she, in 76? This is the single that followed on from that. She moved from A&M, I think she was on, I can't remember anyway, but I think it was A&M, and she moved on to Virgin and did this, Only Women Bleed, and that's a wonderful version of it. Next up, a band I know nothing about, Fisher Z, a song called So Long. It's all right, it's on United Artists. When did that come out? 1980. Again, don't know anything about that band, but I picked it up, 10p. This song, I picked this up because, again, it was there, 10p. Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress by the Hollies. And when I played that, I thought, oh my God, this is Creedence Clearwater Revival. It's an absolute rip-off of their sound. You know, obviously deliberately so, but yeah, it's a half-decent song, actually. I like that, so I was glad I picked that up. Next is a song I've had for a very long time. It's a song that takes me right back to my primary school days, but I've never had it in a picture sleeve. Cheesy band, this. Kind of there was a 50 revivalist kind of thing going on in the mid-70s. Anyway, the Rubettes, Jukebox Jive. Classic song, a really good song in a picture sleeve. And the last one is from 1969, classic song from Marvin Gaye, Abraham, Martin and John, 10p. Lovely. Okay, there's the 45s. Let's look at the albums. Now, recently I did a video on a band called 10 Years After, British blues rock band, featuring a guitarist called Alvin Lee, a band that made their name, I think, at Woodstock when they did a version, or their song, I'm Going Home. And it was, for me, one of the standouts of that festival, that on the album. And I did a favourite 5 video on there. That's where I shared my favourite 5 albums and songs by any one band or artist. And I don't usually share live albums on the favourite 5, and I didn't have this album at the time anyway to show it. But it's recorded live 10 years after. Double album. It's not bad at all, actually. I'm quite pleased to add that to my 10 years after collection. It's got I'm Going Home on it. It's a good version of it. It's got Choo Choo Mama. It's got I Can't Keep From Crying Sometimes, which is just brilliant song. It's got One of These Days, which I like. It's got their version of Sonny Boy Williamson's Help Me On It as well, which is good. So yeah, pleased to add that to my 10 years after collection. Next up is an album I've been wanting for a while, and I've never seen a reasonably decent quality copy of it. This is an album by a band whose the name of which the guy kept when he went solo. Is Alice Cooper, and this is Muscle of Love. Now, I remember reading about this, that when this first came out in, 74, lots of record shops sent it back because they said it was faulty because it was had a mark on it. It had like water stain, but that's what it was meant to look like. I love the packaging of this kind of pizza box look. I think it's just inspired. But every time I see it, it's ripped and so on. But this is a really nice quality copy of it. So I was really pleased to pick this up. Muscle of Love, I think, is a great song. Teenage Lament, the 2 singles from it, I think are great songs. But the first 3 songs on the record, which is Bad Apple, Dreaming, Never Been Sold Before, Hard-Hearted Alice, are great songs. There's also a song in here called Man with a Golden Gun. Now, they realised, I think, that the Ian Fleming novels the films were being released in the order of the novels, and the next one was Man with a Golden Gun. So they did a song called that in the hope that it would be released as the Bond tune, because obviously that's big news, isn't it? Unfortunately, that went to Lulu, so that's why we've got a song called Man with a Golden Gun on here. But what a great album. I really like that. I'm going to do a favourite 5, I think, on Alice Cooper soon. I enjoy their stuff, or their stuff. Okay, next up is a band. I've only just bought this album. In fact, I bought it 2 days ago. No, 3 days ago, I think, on Friday, whenever that was. And I really like it, actually. It's quite an interesting album. I know nothing about this band, though. I just like the look of it. It's on A&M Records from 1974, and the band are called Armageddon. Now, I haven't looked it up yet in terms of its value or what the band are about or whether or not they did anything else. It does feature Keith Relf, who was the singer with the Yardbirds, wasn't he? But it doesn't sound like the Yardbirds, but it doesn't really sound like Keith Relf either. This is a kind of a mix of, it's a British blues rock album. Having said that, there's some quite psychedelic moments in there, and there's some quite proggy moments in there. So on side 2, there's a song called Basking in the White of the Midnight Sun. I mean, that's really proggy title, and it's got 4 movements to it. So yeah, there's a proggy element, and there's a kind of a blues rock psychedelic element to it. Yeah, it's all right. So if you know anything about Armageddon, let me know what you think in the comments below. Next up, a band that I've got a lot of their albums, but I realised the other day I was missing this one in terms of a sequence. A bit like the Alice Cooper one, there's a certain number of albums I want by them in a sequence, and Muscle of Love filled that gap. This is one that fills that gap. I've showed quite a lot of records by this band in the past. It's Wishbone Ash, and this is Wishbone 4. Yeah, it's quite a backward step after their first 3 albums, if I'm really honest. after Pilgrimage, Argus, and their self-titled debut. But it's not bad. It's a little bit more folky possibly, but yeah, it's okay. It was super cheap, so I was quite pleased to add that to the collection and get the kind of discography a little bit more complete. Next up is a solo artist. At least he is on this album, but he is the only constant member, I think, of Tangerine Dream, German ambient pioneer electronica band. And the album is by Edgar Froese. I've got a couple of things by him. I'm just trying to think of what the names are. One is called Aqua, I know, but there's this one as well. Time Wind, is it? Possibly. Anyway, this is Edgar Froese. So he is obviously German electronic artist. And this is his solo album from, I don't even know, mid-70s. And it's called Epsilon in Malaysian Pale. What on earth does that mean? What a bizarre title. Now, I know he's a German speaker, obviously, but, you know, the Germans I met always have a good command of English. That's a bizarre title. I don't even know what that means. Epsilon in Malaysian Pale. It's quite short, but actually it's quite good. I quite enjoy it. I like Tangerine Dream. I like that kind of sound. And if you like electronic noodling, you'll probably like this. I like a bit of background music, so that suits me quite well. So that's Edgar Froese and Epsilon in Malaysian Pale. Catchy title. The last one, my favourite band, and I generally, when I pick up albums, pick up something by this band, although I'm finding that progressively hard because my collection of this band is vast. But the other day I realised I don't have the US version of this album. I have a Canadian version of this album, but I don't have the US version of Fireball by Deep Purple. Now, I always feel sorry for my American friends that they had to put up with this awful kind of card that they had for covers, because it marks so badly. You always end up with wear and ring wear. The UK version, which was textured, was a really nice sleeve, but this is quite tired. But the reason I picked this up, and interesting, it's not because of the different track list, because it does have a different track list than the UK one. The UK one had Demon's Eye. The US version has Strange Kind of Woman. And so both UK and US both missed out, I think, because there's one song on here, and I think this is the album that is sandwiched between In Rock, one of their classics, and Machine Head, absolutely one of their classics. And it's often kind of not forgotten, but it's often kind of in the shadow of those two albums, which is a shame because I think it's a great, great album. But if they had taken off Anyone's Daughter, which is kind of a bit of a country kind of song, bizarre song. In fact, there's probably a video here of songs you hate by bands you love. That would be right up there. Anyone's Daughter by Deep Purple. If they took that off and put on Demon's Eye, or in the UK's version, they put on Strange Kind of Woman, this would have been a much better album. So, Chris, why on earth, given that you've got 8 other versions of this, why did you buy this again? Simply, and you'll understand this if you're a collector, and if you're not, you'll think I'm mad, but I bought it because it has a different lyric sheet than the UK one. And if you are a collector, that is absolute reason for buying it, isn't it? So there you go. Tell me what you think in the comments below about the stuff I've picked up. And I'm sure I'll be back sometime soon with another video. Cheers.